a nice show into the current meta. It's not quite the top level of divisions, but they are A plus tier divisions here facing off against each other. Fourth division, obviously the division that made the 100 win without a loss series happen for Skific, but ninth Panzer, a division that was completely busted when it first launched, has been toned down slightly since then, but it is still a T72 powerhouse. T72s are still fantastic, and Woe is maybe the player that executes them the best. And really, Skoof has to level up just a slight bit here to actually stand a chance to stop this menace that is coming in from the left side in red this time around. So let's see if Skoof can bring it together.
Yeah, so but here's the thing, I'm thinking about artillery advantage here. The M110 super heavies that the Dutch get, like those things are going to be really useful on this map because they can reliably eliminate basically any uh, like building, any position, and the places where you set up your command vehicles is also kind of predictable in many of these positions here. And the 200 millimeter artillery can like single salvo against a T-72, and if that T-72 is not going to die from that salvo, it's going to be on low cohesion and it's not well enough armored to survive the hits from the leopards. So just I think it is a more practicable uh, weapon against ninth than ninth's artillery and multi-launching rocket systems are against the Fort Dutch. The Dutch get going hard. We're already seeing CNVs, BO-105 recon helis, followed up by a 3-tank, 2 for fire support, 1 for main battle tank duties, and they're going to go down the middle and they are going to live under an excellent recon coverage. The Werkeners AT, the ones I mentioned here with the Carl Gustav, also going into a front position. It's gonna have exceptional stealth. The enemy is going to drive towards it. It's going to take it out on long range with the Carl Gustav, and even if it doesn't take it out, the Carl Gustav's range and suppression means that the rest of the Dutch units can maneuver around the now discombobulated foe. And Woe is opening, as you should, is trying to build a comparable recon deployment here with 4 Moto Aufklärers already, half of them coming in the Aufklärer BMP-1s. They're not bad units, Moto Aufklärers, but they are not as efficient as the KCT Werkeners. They don't deploy as fast, and they don't have the recon as powerful.
Yeah, we have the Dark Neutron +1 opener here with triple T-72 MKs here. 3 leader tanks coming in from the get-go. This is not a classic opener. Like, this is a Woe is me kind of brew with a Sturm S and a T-72S. It's not a concentrated force here either. Like, Woe is trying to make it spread out from the get-go. We don't see the BMP2s, we instead see the BMP1 PD. This is a BMP1 with a Conkers that can hold a flank quite nicely and get the ATGM a bit cheaper than your normal BMP2 kit for 10 points discount. You have no autocannon on it, but the ATGM is still just as good, and that means that Woe will have the whiff here for sure against an opponent that is way more centralized into the middle, and that is a necessity as fourth. You can't spread out as thin as the T-72 division against you can. You can't face them off one by one all over the map in the opener. So a really, really interesting setup here. And I wonder how Woe is going to play it. Will we just see Woe probing for weaknesses and then just go in wherever he sees a weakness? Or will he actually set it up as like a concentrated flanking push into the center?
Yeah, most deployments so far are just the recon is deploying as defensively as you can while also getting the standard sightlines in the middle. So MI2 earns going out there down south, which is a good choice. Very rare to have an opener Gepard, Cheetah down there. And the MI2s are just powerful enough to take out the CNVs and even Bergeners if the Bergeners show themselves. And also, of course, you can get a free Pratt, which is 75 points, which is quite cheap for having 12 TOW2 missiles, but it doesn't get the good stealth of a Humvee TOW, for instance.
Yeah, we see the storm on the other side, and I think the deployment here for Woe is mostly done. A smoke mortar for the middle as well. The mod aufklärers, one coming in BMP1, one coming in normal W50. Interesting setup there. So yeah, we will have at least 3 infantry recon cards for Woeisme. No recon helicopter, it seems like. It's all recon infantry to get the best possible spotting close to the T-72s that you can get for 9th Panzer, and it will circle around the T-72s here for sure. Like, this is a lot more T-72s that you already see usually in the opener. Oh, and deployment has changed a bit. The T-72S has gone. Instead of BMP-2 arrives in the south. Okay. Both circling it a bit around. This is going to be a really nice one.
Yeah, I think from Woe's side, I think this is about expecting the enemy to do the same thing that Woe has been doing to the enemy. Woe getting the defensive openers, not giving out any juicy targets for the division that gets the better capacity to hunt for those targets. The lack of anti-air is a bit interesting here. I think that might mean that Woe is opening with fighters. Just getting those recon helicopters down there can give you a really nice can prevent the enemy from exploiting and getting a free kill. So it might be worth risking it with a fighter. And yeah, now the tank deployments also seem to be so very. Wait, no, is this Oh no, I was misclicking that all the tanks are not going to the same location. Yeah, the tanks are just gonna try to get the defensive captures and probably just run off and hide behind the infantry and recon infantry here. Yeah, I think Woe's going to juggernaut this. Woe is going to try to turtle as best as you can, and that's going to be a true achievement against 4th NL. The 4th Dutch is more dependent on having combined arms than most mechanized divisions or tank divisions, but its combined arms is also more powerful than other divisions. So that's a pretty fair trade-off, I think.
Yeah, and the MiG-23ML outclasses the F5A here in disguise, so that's already a mind game victory here for Woe if the MiG-23 actually makes it to the south here in time. The Mi-2 Yearns are a bit in danger, but yeah, F5 here can't just take the shots from the rear. Gets pushed back immediately. MiG-23 not quite getting the kill, but the Mi-2s stay safe, whilst the enemy fighter is being pushed back. And that is already a victory for Woe. Can now start to hunt down the BO-105s as well. First one here getting targeted, will not get much intel. Second one in the north, will at least see a bit, but this is a great opener. It's down to a Dark Neutron opener here in the end. It's only 2 T-72 MKs, but 1 MEV here in the stat in the south. And the Mi-2 Yearns now on the hunt for recon units. And this is an issue as the Cheetahs actually got replaced with the fighter and an Ihawk. And now another F5 comes around. The Mi-2 Yearns have to die. The CV is not really capable of getting the kill here, as the F5 finally comes around, killing one off. Verkenners goes down. One Mi-2 Yearn biting the dust on the other side. MiG-23 still around, but pretty low on missiles now. And the F5 will be able to get out alive. So, interesting opener here from both sides. I would say Woe a bit better, but
yeah, I was watching the Scoof's player perspective, and Scoof got nothing, got absolutely no unity identifications and no recon there. The MiG-23 investment has paid off immensely here from where I'm standing. Though now it's not gonna run with, so the Ihawk doesn't get a free kill there.
Yeah, Ihawk missile not hitting there. And the M113 in the south getting killed off by the BMP2, that's another great kill. The YPR and the other M113 now having to fall back a bit. Scoof with a slight point lead, but the flank in the south is wide open. And oh, Whoa, with the double SU-22 cluster. Yeah, this is what we were talking about. This is what you have to protect yourself against with the Leo 2s, and this is not going to be easy. Cluster bomber coming around. Leo 2 manages to escape. The Leo 1 doesn't, but there comes the second cluster, and it goes directly for the Eyehawk and takes out the Eyehawk, so cluster bombers will survive. F-16, oh! The F-16 flank in the rear, but it doesn't get the missile out in time! And the second one most likely will get out alive as well. Oh, it gets the damage, but no kill. Such an interesting and great flank there, but the execution just so slightly off. The Leo 2 is still alive on the ground, but the Eyehawk and the Leo 1 and L are down. The Leo 2A4C is super low on hit points, has to get the hell out of there. BMP's pushing forward, and the D-72 leaders here now coming in. The TOW 2 is in a nice spot. The F-16 and F-5 here now actually going for strafing runs, taking out a mod aufklärer whilst they're at it. So that's a decent thing to start with. Ooh, TOW 2 from the south, not hitting the MEV. Second TOW 2 coming around here against the T-72 leader. Gets the kill! Oh, this game is starting really hot. Cluster F-16 coming out. This is a good cluster F-16, but it doesn't quite find the run.
Yeah, another Su-22 rocket plane out here with the heavy rockets diving against the TOW 2, but likely going to get... Does actually get the kill, does not get shot down by the Freedom Fighter. Currently, the Su-22s are... they're going to be out of the field for a moment, and the MiG-23 Marxist-Leninist, I doubt, is enough to fight against this Dutch air spam. Koob here missing against the Freedom Fighter, and with no immediate... The Koob ran out of ammunition, so it means it cannot follow its hunt commands. So it's just standing around there. Woe needs to realize that and move it to the front as fast as possible, as well as get its supply, of course.
Yes, and both T-72s in the south got killed off by the TOW 2s, and the sensor T-72 leader got killed off by the cluster bomber, so Scoof is fully online. Scoof did survive the cluster with the Leo 2A4 leader. He didn't get the kill there, even though he had the great flank, and yes, he lost a bit in the first engagement in the opener, but the tank fight went 100% his way, and this is where the Dutch want to play from. Gets another Eyehawk online, gets enough fighters online now to protect this when the cluster bombers can come around again, and just needs to get an investment to an Eyehawk and one or two more Leos, and then the Dutch will be really hard to push off this field. The snowball of the T-72 is not going to happen, and Woe will have to find another solution for this matchup.
Yeah, Woe going in and investing heavily into anti-air with a bunch of Shilkas and 3 Shilkas actually coming out there. But the T-72 printer does keep on going with a Pioneer Flum to keep the first forests that Scoof would logically push will be kept clean by the Pioneer Flum, which is the right choice there, I believe. Will easily beat even the Genies. And with a tiny presence up the northwestern corner with the Aufklärer BMP-1 and Moto Aufklärer, Woe kind of really wants to hold that corner because the limited mechanized advantage of the single YPR and a single Leopard 2 leader here, if when the Eyehawk gets online here, I think the Leopard 2 might start pushing behind the Verkener's AT, and right now there's nothing here that can challenge the Leo outside of an air attack.
Yeah, MiG-23ML here, coming to around, trying to push back the fighters, but the Eyehawk is online, and it can easily push this back. Artillery needs to come around, as the Nantes hold the north. This is where Woe maybe can do some damage. The YPR is not quite in position for that position, and there is still a bit of time to get something going on there. Currently only one tank on the front line, as the Leo 1L went down in the north. So only the Leo 2A4 in the center currently around for Scoof, but yeah, no T-72 right now on the front line on the other side, so it is down to infantries and BMPs. And yes, you mentioned earlier, that's where the 9th has a slight advantage, but it's not all that big, and F-16 trading against MiG-23. I don't believe the Shilka can get the kill. Koob not finding a hit either. Ooh, and the cluster F-16 is around again. So that is another dangerous thing coming in here.
Yeah, the cluster F-16 is out here with zero spotting coming from Scoof. Scoof does not see a single enemy unit, and having the cluster plane be so close there, that is such a huge risk. The Eyehawk is currently inside a truck, so it couldn't counterfire against the MiG-23. And right now we're seeing a mix of defensive and offensive units coming from Scoof. You really can see from these spies on both sides that they invested so heavily into the air. So we're just gonna have this moment of light conflict on the ground with the Woeisme trying to push with an infantry, but now with the YPR PRI getting here, that means that Woe's path has run out, uh, and it requires more fire support.
Yeah, and the airplay here is going really well for Scoof. Scoof now also setting up for a push into the south, and without T-72s there, holding that will be tough. Oh, T-72 MUV in the middle, in danger. KCT Verkenners not hitting with the Carl Gustav though, so they get the YPR and actually get out of there scot-free for now. That is pretty lucky for Woe, getting a frontal hit there, only taking away 1 hit point, so that's the best outcome you could hope for there. Even getting rid of the KCT Verkenners most likely there in a second. Yeah, that goes down. So that's a decent start here for Vote to get back into that center zone. It is still only one Leo 2 so far, as Scoof had to invest into supporting tools in the last couple of minutes. A bit more infantry, a bit more ATGM carriers, a bit more AA. But that is all set up now, and the Leo 2 printer can start soon again, and this is the scary part for WoW. As if the Leo 2 numbers get too high here, I just don't see a way of how you push through that.
Yeah, the Scoof has been successfully pushing away and kind of testing the waters here up north, and actually driving the PRI close enough to get the RPG'd. And with the Eyehawk and the double Leopard 1s there, I think there might be Verkenners might start trying to hop from one tree line to another to provide for the Leopard 1 and else. And if the Leopard 1s go and start engaging, Woe might move around heavier tanks, T-72s, to challenge them, and this would then open a perfect target for the air attacks of the Dutch. And the waiting here, trying to build some kind of a defensive front line, trying to bait the enemy into moving out first, is the more reliable way to do it. But Woe has never really been a player.
Ooh, cluster coming
To
in
be
for the
played
Eyehawk again.
passively.
And the Eyehawk goes for the other unit. Oh, the cluster plane gets it through. F-16 not getting the kill just yet. Eyehawk number 2 trying to get the kill there. Oh, the cluster plane is surviving again. Really unfortunate for Scoof, as the rocket plane at least went down. But, oh, the cluster plane is so much more dangerous. And here comes the special unit from Woe. Oh, going for the second Eyehawk. Woe is still trying to make it with the airplay, as the napalm comes in and gets the kill. Eyehawk number 3 is down, and that is a devastating news for Scoof. Scoof now will have to set up a good bit better. Cheetahs immediately come in. Yes, this is key now. That he didn't get the cluster kill there, though, that is really unfortunate. At least one of the Su-22s went down, and he gets the BMP2 now. He didn't lose a plane of his own, but the Eyehawks are down, and that is going to be really annoying now.
Yeah, so for the casual viewers, the fourth Dutch only gets those 3 Eyehawks. Afterwards now, they only have heat seeker planes, such as the F-16s and Freedom Fighters, as well as gun AA and like Stingers. So, oh no, here the cluster, the very crucial cluster Su-22 getting hit and driven off by the Freedom Fighter getting punched out.
Both sides surviving there. One F5 went down, and the cluster plane is surviving once more here. Napalm coming towards the middle, doesn't quite find the Leo, as we only have one Leo on the battlefield right now. It's still that one crucial Leo out there. The push into the south here of Scoof is going to be interesting. If Scoof can get the CV in there, that is going to start a tick here for the blue side. That is going to be a crucial moment. Pioneer with flamethrowers in the middle here, getting engaged by the Leo 1. And yeah, the T-72 numbers here are still super low. Napalm trying to keep hunting the Leo 2, but the Leo 2 too fast, can dodge that too easily. So the Napalm rocket launcher here not getting the kills. It's really expensive to resupply. It has an insane reload time of 330 seconds, so Woe can't keep that up forever. He's splitting the salvos currently with 10 rockets each, but the damage is not really being done here right now by those. SU-22AT though, that can do the damage. And yeah, the cheetah numbers needs to increase. First, Leo 2A4C coming in now. 3 cheetahs on the battlefield. I would love to see a couple more as the SU-22AT gets the CV in the south. That at least stopped the it being captured, so it's a +2, but it's not going to be a +4 for Scoof here, which is what Scoof was hoping for. And Woe can get a CV in there somewhat quickly again. F-16 cluster coming in, getting pushed back by the Coop, but at least Scoof will get ahead in points now.
Yeah, Woe's middle T-72 getting side-shot by the Werkener's AT here, so the Leopard 1s and Prats can do the rest of the damage here. The plateau is really getting after Scoof here. The investment into the incendiary was not enough to stop the attack for up the northern part of the plateau, and now even the last Aufklärer BMP-1 getting targeted by the Panzerinfanterie Dragon. From now that if the Werkener's AT, as we can see here in the middle of a plateau, if they get into these positions, and they most likely are, it's gonna be immensely difficult to get back there. Controlling these positions, having the stealthy Carl Gustav unit doing the spotting there, and that is a perfect position to allow for a sort of mobile defense that the Leopard 2s and Prats and Cheetahs really work well with. That instead of sitting back behind your Ihawks and your TOW2s, what you have is you have a small mobile group of vehicles that whenever the enemy pushes too far, or even pushes in a location that you can punish, you send in your close range AA, and you send in your tanks, and you send in your infantry to meet them, and then when you get your kills, you run back. And if the enemy tries to follow you, you have the long range defenses of the Prats and TOW2s to hold against them. And that's something that Woe is very aware that could happen.
Really unfortunate air engagement there. Like, sorry, but
Yeah.
that had to be talked about. 2 MiG-23s coming in against 3 F-16 and shooting down 2 F-16 over enemy air defense, and then one of the MiG-23s even survives. This is getting problematic in the skies here now for Scoof. Losing the 2 F-16s and not getting the 2 MiG-23s on the other side. Once more, one of them surviving with just a sliver of health. It's really unfortunate what's going on there in the air RNG there to some extent, but also slight mismicro there time and again from Scoof. Like the F-16s weren't quite set up nicely, whilst the MiG-23s got their R-24Rs off really well. And that's what killed the first F-16 before even any missiles was fired the other way around. But the Cheetahs and the the 2 remaining F-16s not able to get the kills on both enemy planes there is pretty brutal. The tick is still going on here. We have a 300-point lead now, but you have to set up against the air spam to come. The Stingers here now are really crucial. More Cheetahs have to come around here, and you can't afford to lose these now to artillery or air spam. As if that goes on for too long, you're gonna just drown in the last 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah, the rocket artillery is reloading at 60% right now, so it's going to take a moment before Woe can start picking off these units here. But as we've seen with the airplay so far, fortune favors the Woad. And with the AT and cluster plane diving in here, is there vision? There is no vision, but they are blind targeting the enemy.
The AT not really getting anything though, and the cluster going for the mortar. That's not a valuable target. What was that about? He gets the cluster mortar, sure, but he gets a mortar with the cluster, but that is not a target that is worth a cluster SU-22. That is not a Leo 2. That is. What was that decision making by Woe? This is wild.
I think it's. I think Woe just wants there to be. If Woe thinks that the attack is happening right now, maybe that's a way to help his push that's going over the top right now, because Woe is not investing into getting rid of or stopping in. I don't know. I think that was maybe just that WoW really wants to make sure that the enemy doesn't have that in this engagement right now. There is a T-72S and a second one has been ordered in, and the T-72S is in a long-range position and has actually taken out an enemy supply unit already. If WoW gets recon up here, yes, now the Svirmis are going out there long range, striking the front armor of the Leopard 2A4B, doing 3 damage.
Yeah, forcing that thing back immediately. It can't stay on the front line. It's the leader, so you can't afford that to get lost. But there is a layer 2A4C waiting for anything pushing through the south. The second one is on the way now from the rear. F16 cluster is still out here as well. The Coops by now keep the sky pretty clean for the red side. But, oh, Stinger, yeah, maybe a bit over eager there as well. You can't afford to lose Stingers like that. One Stinger already went down in the north, and now one more will go down here in the center. You got at least one F6 Su-22 cluster now, but you need to kill a couple more of those AT planes to stop the snowball that could potentially happen later on. So, yeah, a bit skeptical, but the Stinger actually made it alive, so it's now in a decent spot to pre-fire something. Napalm coming around, trying to get the Leo 2A4. That should be something that you can micro out of. Yeah, Scoof microing the right direction. And that Napalm won't get a kill immediately now. It does cut the reinforcement road a bit though, so Scoof has to be careful with units coming in again, as the +4 does continue, and finally goes down to Woe getting a unit in here again, reducing it most likely to no tick at all, as 700 points have been ticked up here for Scoof, and we're about to reach the halfway point.
Yeah, as I was saying about the mobile defense here, the way that WoW wants to beat that mobile defense and beat the enemy increased mobility is, I think, with artillery. The smoke mortars on one hand and the area denial of the napalm rockets is the way to keep. Is the way to shatter the enemy's like standard locations, force the enemy to move around, prevent them from repairing, and in this way, the wider angles, the wider concave formation that the T-72Ss, 2 of them now, are using this.
Ooh, cluster bomber coming in! It's preemptively fired onto the layer 2A4C. It's surviving with 1 hit point. Oh no, the second one! It's getting into the napalm! The leader tank is nearly down as well. Oh, the layer 2A4C is down, and the leader tank is really, really low as well. The cluster Su-22 got taken out at least this time around, so that's both of those eliminated, but it got a kill onto a layer 2A4C, and that is a really valuable target. MR10 finally coming around. Could go for some counter battery. The napalm is rotating around now. Leo 2A4C in the south, engaging a T-72S, second one coming around, so you have to disengage out of that now. And the Leo 2A4C B leader in the north, it is really low, and it gets killed off by the T-72MK. Ooh, is Scoof getting overwhelmed here once more? His northern formation is really low. The loss of 2 Leo 2A4s like that is not something that you can easily compensate. One BMP2 at least gets stopped, but there's so many T-72s here now. YPR goes down. The YPR Leo 2 with the TOW 2 has to disengage. Leo 2 from the south maybe has to rotate up north. MR13 here trying to get the napalm here in the rear. That is a nice real line action movement here from Scoof. If that can find the artillery, this would make the game so much easier for the player in blue. But MR10 investment instead of more tanks here right now, I'm not sure if Scoof can hold the front line right now.
Yeah, the double M110 is. It seems like it was happened right at the wrong situation. That is a minute's worth of income when you lost your crucial tanks that are the muscles behind your elastic defense. And yeah, the WoW has been trading away points, 800 points basically, to get themselves into this position, waiting for the moment, waiting for all the pieces here to stay on the board. I really love the T-72S flank here that has basically denied a lot of the areas here so that the Leopard 2A4C, that is the last one on the board here, cannot move out realistically and has to stand back because the Svir missiles fly so far and so fast. And so far, Woe is holding this middle point of the southern zone, which has prevented the Dutch recon from getting into a position to actually spot for the T-72s, the SS. I think those are the units that, yeah, they are immediately getting targeted, at least at Forest is by the M110s, but the M110s, there is nothing to prevent the motor shoots them from just getting close.
Yeah, we have a F-16 cluster. The MR-13 flank did get stopped, but it did get the kill onto the coup in the south. So the cluster F-16 can come around here if it wants to. The YPR with the TOW-2 got a MUV killed in the middle. So the kills here lately have been pretty decent for our player in blue. Stingers doing some damage against the Mi-24 here. This game is not over at all. The blue side still has a lot of fight in them. But the Leo2s need to be kept alive now. I'm not quite sure why the F-16 doesn't dive for that forest, seeing that the coup got sniped and that there's no missiles coming out. But now there's a couple too many planes on the other side. Ooh, Su-22 here in the south gets pushed back by the Stingers, gets damaged a bit. So now the Leo 2A4 can do a bit of an engagement again. MiG-23 here maybe pushing a bit too deep, going over a lot of cheetahs, trying to kill the cluster. It gets the cluster! Oh no! Scoop's F-16 with the bad micro there. The F-16s got caught out in a bad turn, and that dive being rewarded, it was too deep. That dive should not have been rewarded, but yeah, luck is with the brave, and it actually did the job. As the Mi-24P here is flying around in the south. Nearly got killed off by the Stingers, but the Stinger not finding the second hit there. And now the MEVs and T-72Ss here, they are scary. And without the cluster on top of a T-72S, the Leo 2s will have a tough time of stopping this.
Yeah, and that F-16 cluster got shot down at the worst possible moment, because this is right immediately the T-72s in numbers, both the moves and the S variants are pushing down south. Woe had infantry coming in, the motor shoots and Pioneer, to actually push this forest further. And this would be the situation. This is the moment. And now another F-16 cluster is coming in here, and it is targeting T-72S. Diving in. There's no AA except for the Shilka.
Gets the kill. Oh, doesn't quite find the hit onto the Mi-24P there in the rear. F-16HE here coming around, has a good bomb load as well. The A-72 MUV gets sniped by the Leo 2A4. So yeah, those beasts are still really scary. Second MUV is targeted but not quite hit there. Bit of infantry damage. The F-16 going a bit deep there. Coop will get another missile out on it, and that might be the end of it. No, it does survive. The high ECM keeping it alive there, and we have 3 Leo 2A4s here, whilst on the other side we only have 3 T-72s on the front line, a 4th one in the far north as a leader. So this game is not over here, but the infantry push of Woe is starting to work out again, getting a TOW-2, getting a YPR with a TOW-2 and a cheetah killed off there, and this is the combined arms that is starting to look a bit flimsy here again for the Dutch, and that's always where the Dutch start to struggle. If the combined arms starts to fall apart, the Leo 2s don't have the flank protection that they need, and then their side armor starts to become relevant. F-16 gets a nice kill here. Oh, HE Bomber finds a good hit, gets some infantry wiped out, nearly gets the MUV. So that is a good hit there. The infantry in the center, though, still annoying here.
Yeah, Woe even smoking the infantry to prevent the Leopard 2 from actually doing anything and putting it even further on risk. The minuscule range of the RPG
Oh, Su-22 coming around, gets another Leo 2A4B here for free in the center. F-16's not able to follow it. They should not dive that deep. They don't get a hit there. F-16 going down. Scoof seems to be frustrated, gets baited into the enemy air defense and loses both F-16s here most likely. You had to give up on that Leo. Trying to dive that deep, losing your fighters now as well means that the next Leo is just going to get sniped as well, and this is the losses that you are not allowed to take in this matchup. Otherwise, those AT planes will just keep coming for you. The Napalm here hunting the Leo 2A4C, not finding it, but these AT planes still being around with the AA being so reduced on the other side, the Stingers being all removed from the battlefield, only the Cheetahs being around, this is an issue.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Scoof is just fighting for his life. The Leopard 2 here is in touching distance of like inside the forest is engaging the immediately first shot gets stunned by the Motoaufklärer, second shot gets put on low cohesion. Oh no, this is a horrible usage of the lever 2A4. Really shows how desperate Scoof is, with another incendiary going down to the command defense line, eastern part of the plateau. And yeah, this the Dutch are not good at comebacks. They are good at opener attacks. They are good at the Dutch win. The Dutch, you want to have the mindset of when you're ahead, get further ahead. You can't really stop. You can't give your opponent chances. And if you lose a bunch of your stuff, it's going to be so difficult to rebuild that under pressure. And Woe here sending in, buying these infantry, meanwhile building up both the AT planes as well as the artillery to just keep on the pressure without actually risking the T-72s.
The MR10? MR10, can it find the kill? No! Ooh, last shot coming in. Can that find the hit onto the RM70? Yes, it can! R70M Napalm finally down here. Really important, really crucial counter hit. The Motoaufklärer in the forest go down as well. The Leo 2A4 is routed, but it will stay alive. And that was a really important one here now. As Woeisme is typing in darn. That is a loss that he really couldn't quite afford. The MR10s still have 11 minutes to get some more damage. For now, the points are still even for the most part. Woe is still on the tick, but Scoof has a slight point lead and he has the better artillery now. He can push that T-72 out with artillery alone out of the northern zone basically, and he is about to set up a smoke play here to get back into the southern zone. Woe with a slightly better positioning here for sure, but there are still Leos around, there are still YPRs, there is an F-16 cluster and an F-16HE here to come around again. It's not like Scoof is teethless, and that could be pretty important. Oh, the F-16 here going too deep. Silka coming around, softening that up. F-16 will be pushed out, will most likely stay alive, but will only be able to come around one more time in this matchup, as the YPR is about to get into the smoke here in the middle. T-72S will try to find a 1580 GM, but it will get into the smoke here in time. And Leo 2A4C trying to set up here. M110s should be firing just onto the right side corner here in the center zone. Clean that up, get that back for Scoof, then Scoof can take his time with the southern zone as well, but that is not what's going on here right now. The M110's currently reloading and waiting for new commands. Those are super important units here. Oh no! The Leo 2A4 goes down, the Cheetah's not getting out time on target here. SU-22 is surviving with 1 hit point. That might be enough repair time that it's not coming around in this game anymore. But that loss is still such a painful one here again. Having to replace another Leo 2. I'm not even sure if there are enough Leo 2s still in the deck to get that replaced. As the MR10s, they need to fire here. You only have 10 minutes. Don't reserve ammunition. Those MR10s need to be constantly salvoing through their shots here now. Finally, one of them aims up against something again. YPR here, running out of smoke to hide in, keeping the tick from going on here right now, as the other YPRs in the north keep on going. T-72 MEV pushing deeper into this here now, trying to find the YPR, not quite doing so, and running into KCT Vercanary range actually, as the F-16 HEs and clusters not quite doing the damage that they need to do, and the MEV actually backing right into the YPR this time around, as the Vercaners stun down the YPR next to it. And there we go. I'm not sure what's going on with the F-16s, why they're not dropping their bombs. But the YPR here now about to get killed off. The smoke mortars didn't keep firing. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. Like, it seems like Scoof just not quite up there with the micro right now. It's a long series. It's the 3rd game already. The M110's finally aiming up onto the T-72 position. The T-72 is actually pushing forward now. Trying to get the fight here, as we have 5 T-72s here pushing in now. The YPRs with the TOW2s desperately trying to hold on with the defense. M110s re-aiming here, but the T-72 numbers seem really high. MEV's down. Leo 2 pushing forward now. Gets the leader tank killed in the north, but all the TOW2s here went down. One more TOW2 has arrived now. It's still a lot of T-72s though. The tick is still slightly in favor of our player in blue, as The points are about to stop, but the TOW2 here in the middle gets pushed out of there as well. Another TOW2 coming from the south. Only able to stun things, not able to kill things. One Storm went down. They're more tense, did a bit more damage, but there is still a SU-22. The TOW2 went down, and it still looks like this is spiraling out of control a bit too quickly. Leo 2 finding a hit, but not quite the stun. Oh, shouldn't smoke off. Yeah, the MEV is the one that smokes off there. But the SU-22 AT here still around, and more tense, not firing. Two more Leo 2s coming around here for the south. Another CV tank able to get into the zone here now. As the Leo 2A4 needs to take really good engagements. Engages the wrong unit here. Doesn't engage the tanks and it gets side-shotted. Oh no! This is game, I think. As now the CVs are all off the map. And we will see Woeisme now taking up really nicely here. And there we go. GGVP is called. And oh, Woeisme does take the 3-0 clean victory in this game that just really looked good for Scuff for such a long time, but